Well, our top story this morning, the non-stop surprises in Minnesota politics. Filing day is over for candidates who want to run in the August primary. And there was a mad dash of people willing to abandon their current seats for new roles. Ellery McCardle joins us now. And Ellery, we've all been talking about this contentious governor's race, but even down ticket, there are some big primaries.
Absolutely. So let's forget the governor's race for now for a few minutes. We need to talk about the attorney general and the 5th congressional district seats. They're both now up for grabs, and there are a handful of people who want each spot.
What a rush inside the state office building as people filed to run for attorney general.
And together, joining forces, we intend to solve problems for the people of Minnesota.
Current AG Lori Swanson's decision to run for governor opened a cascade of people vying for her seat. So who wants in? State Representative Deb Hillstrom.
And I plan to be a strong voice for Minnesotans.
So does former AG Mike Hatch, former Commerce Commissioner Mike Rothman, and retired lawmaker Bob Lassard. But maybe the most surprising person who showed up, Congressman Keith Ellison.
Because I believe that the people of Minnesota need an attorney general who will fight for them every single day.
That opened a mad dash of people vying for his 5th congressional district seat, the most reliably blue district in the nation. Former House Speaker Margaret Anderson Kelleher wants in, so does Realtor Frank Drake, State Senators Bobby Joe Champion and Patricia Torres Ray, and State Rep Ilhan Omar.
All right, so the filing period is officially over. Now candidates in all of these races have 10 weeks to campaign for the primary on August 14th. Chris?